The Great Hall of the Interstellar Assembly was built on a planet that had no name. It sat at the crossroads of 100 trade routes in a system that belonged to no one and everyone. The building itself was made from materials donated by every species that had survived the war. Stone from Earth, crystal from the Elder Homeworld, metal from the Krell hives, water frozen into glass from the Delvani oceans. Thought it was a symbol, a promise, a place where the galaxy could come together and build something new. Ambassador Nathan Cole stood at the center of the main chamber. He was 53 years old, with a mechanical arm that replaced the one he had lost at the Battle of Proxima. That arm was a gift from the Krell, built by engineers who had once been enemies. Now they were friends. Now they were allies. Now they were family. 200 species had sent representatives to this gathering. Some of them had fought against humanity. Some had fought alongside them. Some had simply watched and waited. All of them had come to witness the birth of something that had never existed before, a true galactic community. "Thank you all for being here," Nathan began. His voice was calm and steady. He had given many speeches in his life, but none as important as this one. 11 years ago, we went to war. Not because we wanted to. Not because we enjoyed killing. We went to war because we were told that we had no right to exist among the stars. He paused, looking around the chamber at the hundreds of alien faces watching him. The hegemony believed that strength meant crushing anyone who might one day challenge you. They believed that peace meant forcing others to obey. They believed that the galaxy belonged to the powerful and that the weak existed only to serve. His mechanical hand clenched into a fist. We proved him wrong. A murmur ran through the crowd. Some of it was agreement. Some of it was uncertainty. Nathan had expected both. "I am not here to celebrate victory," he continued. "I am not here to demand payment for what humanity sacrificed. I am here to make a promise." He stepped forward, looking directly at the elder delegation. Sethri was there, impossibly ancient, still watching humanity after all these years. "We could have taken everything," Nathan said. "We could have demanded tribute from every world we conquered. We could have built an empire greater than the hegemony ever imagined. Some people wanted us to. Some people said it was our right as victors." He shook his head. "But that is not who we are. That has never been who we are." He pulled out a small device and activated it. A document appeared in the air above him, written in 100 different languages. "This is the Charter of the Interstellar Assembly. It was written by humans and elders in Krell and Delvani and dozens of other species working together. It sets out the rules by which we will govern ourselves. Not as masters and servants. Not as conquerors and conquered. As equals." The document scrolled slowly, showing its principles for all to see. Every species has the right to exist. Every species has the right to develop without interference. No species will be caged or quarantined or told that they are too dangerous to be free. If conflicts arise, they will be resolved through negotiation, not war. And if any member of this assembly threatens another, all members will stand together against the aggressor. Nathan looked at Zethrai. "You warned them about us," he said. "You told them we were dangerous." "You were right."Zethrai's form flickered with surprise. "We are dangerous," Nathan continued. "We are aggressive and stubborn, and we refuse to die when we should. We fight harder when we are cornered. We become more creative when we are desperate. Everything about us screams that we should be feared." He smiled. "But you missed something important. You saw the wolf, but you did not see the dog. You saw the warrior, but you did not see the healer. You saw our capacity for destruction, but you did not see our even greater capacity for creation." He gestured at the hall around them. "Look at what we have built. Not just humans. All of us, together, in 11 years of war and 5 years of peace. We have accomplished more than the old council did in 1,000,000 years. Because we chose to work together instead of fighting each other. Because we chose to see allies instead of enemies. Because we chose hope over fear. Zephyra rose slowly. Every eye in the chamber turned to him. We warned them you were dangerous, the elder said. We were correct, but we failed to understand why. He drifted forward until he was face to face with Nathan. You are dangerous because you refuse to accept limits. You are dangerous because you believe that anything is possible if you work hard enough. You are dangerous because you look at the universe and see not what it is, but what it could be. His form brightened, glowing with colors that Nathan had never seen before. But most of all, you are dangerous because you choose to be good, despite having the power to be terrible, despite having every reason to seek revenge, despite knowing that kindness is harder than cruelty. You choose mercy over vengeance. You choose building over destroying. You choose hope over despair. He turned to address the entire assembly. I have watched civilizations for 9,000,000 years. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have seen species burn themselves out in war and fade into nothing. But I have never seen anything like humanity. He looked back at Nathan. They are not the monsters we feared. They are not the destroyers we expected. They are something new. Something the galaxy has never seen before. He paused. They are what we could all become, if we are brave enough to try. The charter was ratified that day. Every species present signed it. A new era had begun. On Earth, in a small park overlooking the ocean, Lisa Cole stood watching children play. Some were human. Some had wings or scales or bodies made of light. All of them were laughing. All of them were friends. She thought about her grandmother, Katie, who had died just 3 months after the war ended. Katie had lived long enough to see peace, but not long enough to see this. This moment when alien and human children played together without fear. A young Krell child ran up to her, chittering excitedly in its own language. Lisa smiled and answered in the same tongue. She had learned 6 alien languages in the last few years. It seemed like the least she could do. My father says your people are very strange, the child said. Lisa laughed. He is probably right. What else does he say? He says you fight like demons but love like angels. He says you are the most confusing species in the galaxy. Also probably right. The child tilted its head. Do you think there will ever be war again? Lisa thought about the question. She thought about all the history she had studied. All the battles and treaties and broken promises. All the times people had sworn peace would last forever, only to see it shatter. Maybe, she said honestly. There are no guarantees in life. But I think as long as there are people willing to fight for peace, peace has a chance. Will you fight for peace? Lisa looked up at the sky. The stars were just becoming visible as the sun set. Somewhere up there, her father was helping build a new future. Somewhere up there, species that had been enemies for centuries were learning to be friends. Yes, she said. I will fight for peace. And so will my children. And their children after them. For as long as it takes. The Krell child made a sound like clicking stones. Lisa had learned that it meant satisfaction. Good, the child said. Then I will fight beside you. They watched the stars come out together. 2 species. 2 children. 1 future. The elders had warned the galaxy that humanity was too late to stop Dodd. They were right. But what they had failed to understand was that sometimes being unstoppable was exactly what the universe needed. War came to the galaxy like a storm that had been building for years. The hegemony struck first. Morvac sent his fleets to destroy every human station they could find. He believed it would be easy. He believed that a species so young could not possibly stand against the combined might of civilizations that had ruled the stars for millions of years. He was wrong. The first battle happened at a small mining station near the edge of known space. The station had only 300 people. The hegemony sent 50 warships to destroy it. They expected the humans to surrender or run. Instead, the humans fought. They used mining lasers as weapons. They rammed cargo ships into enemy vessels. They set traps in asteroid fields that destroyed a dozen hegemony ships before the enemy even realized what was happening. When the station finally fell, only 17 humans were left alive. They had destroyed 23 enemy warships. Morvax called it a lucky accident. He sent more ships. The same thing happened again and again. Humans died by the thousands, but they took far more enemies with them. They fought with a fury that shocked the galaxy. They refused to surrender. They refused to retreat. They made every battle cost more than it was worth. Captain Amy Liu commanded the cruiser Defiance. She was 31 years old, small and quiet, the kind of person you might forget in a crowd. But she had a mind that worked faster than any computer, and she had grown up in the ruins of a city destroyed by floods. She knew what it meant to survive when everything was against you. Her ship was surrounded by a hegemony dreadnought and 6 support vessels. The dreadnought was 3 times the size of the Defiance. Its weapons could tear through human shields like paper. Standard military thinking said to retreat. To live and fight another day. Amy looked at her crew. 42 people who trusted her with their lives. Most of them were young. Most of them had families waiting at home. She thought about ordering a retreat. She thought about surviving. Then she thought about what would happen if the dreadnought reached the colony world behind them. 50,000 humans lived there. Children, farmers, people who had come to the stars looking for a better life. All hands, she said calmly. Prepare for ramming speed. Her first officer stared at her. Captain, we cannot outrun them, Amy said. We cannot outgun them. But we can make sure they never hurt anyone again. Vent the atmosphere on my command. It will scatter their targeting sensors. Then we fly straight into their hangar bay and detonate the reactor. The crew will not survive, her first officer whispered. Some of us will, Amy said. We have escape pods. We have 5 minutes between the sensor blackout and the explosion. Anyone who wants to live, get to the pods. Anyone who wants to make sure this works, stay with me. No one moved toward the pods. Amy smiled. I thought so. The plan worked perfectly. The ice cloud blinded the enemy. The Defiance flew into the dreadnought's open hangar and exploded from within. The massive ship broke apart in a ball of fire that destroyed 3 of the support vessels as well. Amy and 19 of her crew made it to the escape pods. They drifted in space for 6 hours before rescue arrived. When they were finally picked up, the first thing Amy asked was whether the colony was safe. It was. Because of her. Word of the battle spread across the galaxy. Other species heard about the human captain, who had destroyed a dreadnought with a mining cruiser. They heard about the crews who chose to die rather than run. They heard about a species that treated impossible odds as just another problem to solve. The Galactic Council fractured. Some species, like the insectoid crow and the aquatic Delvani, had been under hegemony control for centuries. They saw humanity as liberators. They switched sides. They brought ships and soldiers and resources to the human cause. Other species chose to stay neutral. They had no love for the hegemony, but they were afraid of what humanity might become. They watched from the sidelines, waiting to see who would win. The war lasted 11 years. 11 years of battles and betrayals and desperate last stands. 11 years of humans dying far from home, fighting for a future they might never see. 11 years of sacrifice that changed the shape of the galaxy forever. Humanity developed weapons the Council had never imagined. They created viruses that could disable enemy ships without killing the crews. They built stealth vessels that could hide in the shadow of a star. They trained soldiers in zero-gravity combat and vacuum survival. They turned every disadvantage into an advantage, every weakness into a strength. And through it all, they kept offering peace. Every broadcast, every diplomatic channel, every message sent to enemy commanders, humanity said the same thing. We do not want to destroy you. We do not want your worlds. We just want our freedom. Stop fighting, and we will stop. The choice is yours. Some enemies listened. Some surrendered and were treated with honor. Their wounded were healed. Their prisoners were fed and sheltered. When the war ended, they were sent home to their families. Morvax never surrendered. He fought to the bitter end, watching his empire crumble around him. In the final battle, his flagship was surrounded by human vessels. He had one last chance to give up, to live. Instead, he activated his self-destruct. The explosion killed him and took one human ship with him, a cruiser called the Hopeful, with 87 crew members who had thought the war was finally over. Their names were carved into a memorial on Earth, every one of them. Every human who died in the war was remembered, not as soldiers, not as numbers, as people, as heroes. The war was over. The hegemony had fallen, and humanity stood in the ashes, wondering what to build next. Katie Brennan, now 114 years old, watched the final surrender from her hospital bed. She had lived long enough to see humanity reach the stars, long enough to see them fight for their place in the galaxy, long enough to see them win. "We did it," she whispered to her granddaughter Lisa, who sat beside her. "We actually did it." Lisa held her hand. "You did it, Grandma. This was your dream." Katie shook her head weakly. "No, this was everyone's dream. I just helped make it real." She closed her eyes and smiled. The stars belonged to humanity now. The only question was what they would do with them. The meeting with the Galactic Council did not go well for humanity. Jake Morrison and his crew were taken to a space station the size of a small moon. They were questioned for days. They were scanned and studied and examined. The aliens wanted to know everything about Earth, how humans had developed so quickly, how they had built a jump drive with such limited resources, how they had survived the wars and disasters that should have destroyed them. And when the questions were over, the Council made its decision. Humanity was too dangerous to be allowed into the galaxy. A blockade was placed around the Sol system. 200 warships from 12 different species formed a wall of metal and fire. No human vessel would be allowed to leave. Any ship that tried would be destroyed without warning. Morrison and his crew were sent back to Earth with a message. Stay in your system. Do not try to expand. Wait for the Council to decide your fate. The nations of Earth exploded with anger. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted to negotiate. Protests filled the streets of every city. Humanity had finally reached the stars, and now they were being told they could not have them. The United Human Coalition held an emergency meeting. Leaders from every country gathered to decide what to do. Admiral Cody Marshall, the highest-ranking military officer on Earth, stood before them with a plan. "We cannot fight them," he said. "Not directly. Their ships are more advanced. Their weapons are more powerful. If we send our fleet against the blockade, we will lose." "Then what do you suggest?" asked the coalition president. "Do we simply accept being prisoners in our own solar system?" Marshall smiled. It was not a pleasant smile. "I suggest we show them what humanity does best," he said. "We adapt. We innovate. And we cheat." He brought up images on the main screen. They showed small machines, no bigger than a car. Each one was equipped with sensors, communication systems, and most importantly, the ability to build copies of itself. These are self-replicating probes, Marshall explained. We send them out at sublight speed. Slow, yes. But the blockade is not watching for rocks drifting through space. These probes will travel for years, even decades. They will find asteroids and mine them for materials. They will build more probes. And those probes will spread further. And what good does that do us? Someone asked. Each probe carries a quantum communication system, Marshall said. No matter how far they travel, we can talk to them instantly. We can guide them, control them, use them to build stations and factories and systems the Council has never even heard of. He leaned forward. They think they have trapped us here. But you cannot trap a species that learned to fly by falling 1,000 times first. They have blocked the door. So we will go through the window. The plan was approved. Over the next 5 years, thousands of probes were launched. They drifted past the blockade disguised as natural debris. The alien warships never noticed. They were watching for engines and weapons. They were not watching for patience. The probes spread like seeds on the wind. They traveled to distant stars. They found resources and built factories. They constructed stations where humans could live and work. All of it hidden. All of it secret. All of it connected to Earth by invisible threads of quantum communication. Dr. Katie Brennan, now 70 years old, worked herself nearly to death coordinating the expansion. She trained a new generation of scientists. She improved the jump drive again and again. She refused to let age slow her down. They gave us a gift, she told her students. They made us desperate. And there is nothing more dangerous than a desperate human with time to think. By the time the Council realized what was happening, it was too late. A message arrived at the blockade. It came not from Earth, but from a station orbiting a star 300 light-years away. The voice belonged to Katie Brennan. I, Chancellor Morvax. This is Dr. Catherine Brennan of the United Human Coalition. I am speaking to you from Research Station Horizon, located in a system your council has never mapped. I am surrounded by 17 other human stations, each one built in the last 5 years without your knowledge or permission. She paused to let that sink in. We have people in over 2,000 systems now. We have factories, farms, and families growing beyond your borders. You tried to cage us, Chancellor, but you made a mistake that every enemy of humanity makes. You underestimated us. Morvax's response was immediate and furious. He demanded to know how this was possible. He threatened war. He promised to hunt down every human station and destroy it. Katie listened to his threats calmly. When he was finished, she spoke again. You can try, she said. You can send your fleets into the unknown, searching for stations hidden among billions of stars. You can spend centuries playing chase with a species that learned to hide from predators before it learned to walk upright. Or you can accept reality. And what reality is that? Morvax growled. That humanity is already part of this galaxy, Katie said. We are not asking for permission anymore. We are not waiting for your approval. We are here. We are growing. And nothing you do will change that. She leaned closer to the camera. You had your chance to welcome us as friends. You chose to treat us as prisoners instead. Remember that choice in the days to come. Remember that we offered peace and you answered with chains. The transmission ended. On Earth, Jake Morrison watched the message with tears in his eyes. He was an old man now, retired from active service. He had spent years wondering if their first mission had been a mistake. If perhaps humanity should have been more careful. More patient. Now he understood. The stars had never been given to anyone. They had to be taken. And humanity had finally shown the galaxy that they were willing to take them. The quarantine was broken. The cage was empty. And the universe would never be the same. The starship Atlantis hung in the darkness between stars. It was not a beautiful ship. It was not sleek or elegant like the vessels that filled human imagination for centuries. It was a working machine, built by practical people who cared more about function than form. But it was fast. Faster than anything the galaxy had ever seen from a species. So young Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge, looking out at the endless black. He was 52 years old, with gray at his temples and lines on his face that told stories of hard years. He had fought in the climate wars. He had helped rebuild cities after the floods. He had buried friends and raised children, and never once stopped believing that humanity had a future beyond Earth. Now he was about to prove it. How are we looking? He asked. Dr. Katie Brennan looked up from her console. She was 64 now, but her eyes still held the same fire they had when she was a child staring at the stars. It had taken her entire life, but she had figured out how to bend space itself. The jump drive was her creation, her gift to humanity. All systems are stable, she said. We can make the jump whenever you are ready. Morrison nodded. He turned to his crew. 27 people, the best Earth had to offer. Scientists and soldiers and engineers who had volunteered for a mission that might kill them all. They had trained for 3 years. They had said goodbye to everyone they loved. Now they were about to become the first humans to travel faster than light. You all know why we are here, Morrison said. For centuries, we looked up at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Today, we find out. Whatever happens next, whatever we discover out there, remember who we are. Remember where we came from. And remember that we carry the hopes of 8 billion people with us. He took a deep breath. Take us out, Dr. Brennan. Katie smiled and pressed the button that would change history. The jump was strange. There was no sensation of movement, no feeling of speed. One moment they were in empty space near Neptune. The next moment they were somewhere else entirely. Stars that no human had ever seen surrounded them. Distant galaxies painted the void with colors that had no names in any human language. Jump successful, Katie announced. Her voice was shaking. We are approximately 47 light years from Earth. For a moment, no one spoke. They just stared at the universe around them, overwhelmed by the simple fact that they were here, that it had worked, that everything they had dreamed was now real. Then Lieutenant Ryan Torres broke the silence. Commander, we are receiving a transmission. Morrison felt his heart skip. From Earth? No, sir. Ryan's face had gone pale. It is not human. The signal is coming from directly ahead of us. Distance, approximately 200,000 kilometers. Everyone turned to look at the main screen. There was nothing there but empty space. Then, slowly, shapes began to appear. Ships, dozens of them. Each one was different. Some were smooth and organic, like sea creatures. Others were sharp and angular, built for war. And some were made of pure light, drifting through the void like ghosts. They were waiting for us, Katie whispered. A new transmission came through. This time, it was a voice. It spoke in perfect English, though it was clearly not human. Vessel from Earth, you will halt your progress and prepare to be boarded. You are in violation of Galactic Council Directive 7 regarding unauthorized interstellar travel. You will submit to evaluation, or you will be destroyed. Morrison looked at his crew. He saw fear on some faces, confusion on others, but mostly he saw determination. These were humans. They had not come this far to surrender. Open a channel, he said. Katie hesitated. Jake, maybe we should think about this. We do not know what we are dealing with here. We never do, Morrison replied. That has never stopped us before. He stepped forward and spoke clearly into the communication system. Galactic Council, This is Commander Jake Morrison of the Earthship Atlantis. We thank you for your welcome, but we must respectfully decline your invitation. We are here as explorers, not as prisoners. If you wish to talk, we are happy to talk. But we do not submit to anyone. There was a long silence. Then a new voice spoke. This one was different. Older, tired. Commander Morrison, my name is HFY. I am an elder of the Kirith Dominion. I have been watching your world for many years. I warned the Council that this day would come, but they did not listen. Morrison frowned. You have been watching us? Yes, we have observed your development, your wars, your achievements, your failures. We believed we had more time before you reached the stars. We were wrong. What happens now? Morrison asked. That depends on you, HFY said. The Council wishes to evaluate your species to determine if you are a threat. Many of them believe you should be contained, controlled, perhaps even destroyed. The bridge went silent. And what do you believe? Morrison asked. I believe you are the most dangerous species this galaxy has ever seen, HFY said. But I also believe that destruction is only the answer for those who lack imagination. I would like to meet you, Commander, face to face. I would like to understand how a species so young has come so far so fast. Morrison looked at Katie. She nodded slowly. We would be honored to meet you, Elder HFY, Morrison said. But understand this. We did not come here to be judged. We came here to learn, to explore, and to take our place among the stars. We will not be turned away. There was something that might have been a laugh on the other end of the transmission. I expected nothing less, HFY said. Prepare for our arrival, Commander. And perhaps prepare yourself for the truth about your place in this universe. It may not be what you expect. The transmission ended. Morrison turned to his crew. Wow, he said. I guess we are about to find out just how friendly the neighbors are. Katie walked over to stand beside him. What do you think they will do? Morrison watched the alien ships drifting closer. Some of them were bigger than cities. Some of them carried weapons that could probably destroy planets. And here was the Atlantis, a single small ship crewed by 27 humans who had no idea what they were getting into. He smiled. I think they are going to learn that humanity is full of surprises. The great chamber of the Galactic Council had stood for 9 million years. Its walls were made of crystal that sang when light passed through them. Its floor was carved from the heart of a dead star. 47 species sent their representatives here to discuss the fate of worlds. And today they had gathered to hear a warning. Ambassador HFY of the Kirith Dominion floated at the center of the chamber. His body had no solid form. He was made of light and energy, shifting colors as his emotions changed. Right now, he glowed a deep orange, the color of fear. You must listen to me, he said. His voice echoed through the minds of every being present. The humans are not like other species. They are something new. Something dangerous. High Chancellor Morvax of the Hegemony made a sound like grinding rocks. His species was ancient and proud. They had conquered 1,000 worlds before most other races learned to make fire. He did not like being told what to do, especially by an elder who spent most of his time watching primitive planets. You speak of a species that cannot even leave their own world, Morvax said. They fight wars over patches of dirt. They poison their own air and water. Why should we fear them? HFY flickered with frustration. Because they learn. Because they change. Because they do in decades what other species take centuries to achieve. He waved one translucent hand and images appeared in the air above the council. They showed a small blue planet spinning in the darkness of space. Earth, the humans called it. 300 of their years ago, they could not fly, HFY said. They traveled on animals and in wooden ships pushed by wind. Look at them now. The image shifted. It showed metal birds screaming across the sky, towers of glass and steel reaching toward the clouds, machines that could think, weapons that could split atoms. They went from wooden wheels to nuclear power in less time than it takes most species to develop basic agriculture. HFY continued. They have walked on their moon. They have sent machines to other planets. They are already reaching for the stars. A representative from the Thelani Collective spoke up. She was a tall being with silver skin and eyes that held the light of distant suns. Her species had given up physical bodies long ago, but she wore one now out of respect for the younger races. The elders have watched many species rise, she said. Most destroy themselves before they become a threat to others. Why should humans be different? HFY turned to face her. Because they came close to destroying themselves and chose not to. More images appeared. They showed mushroom clouds rising over cities. They showed ice melting and seas rising. They showed humans fighting humans in wars that killed millions. They built weapons that can end all life on their world, HFY said. And then they stopped. They saw the edge of the cliff and stepped back. Do you understand what that means? The chamber was silent. It means they can control themselves when they need to, HFY said. It means they are not mindless destroyers. They are something far more dangerous. They are survivors. They are adapters. And they never give up. Morvax laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. You have grown soft in your old age, Elder. These humans are nothing. They are children playing with toys they do not understand. By the time they develop true space travel, we will be ready for them. Will you? HFY asked. And how long do you think that will take? Morvax waved a massive claw dismissively. A century at least. Perhaps 2. We have plenty of time to prepare. HFY's form grew darker. My people have been watching civilizations for 9 million years. We have seen species that advance slowly and carefully. We have seen species that burn bright and fast. But we have never seen anything like humanity. He pulled up more images. Scientists working through the night. Engineers building and failing and building again. Soldiers dying for ideas. Artists creating beauty in the midst of chaos. They do not sleep when they should, HFY said. They do not rest when they are tired. They push forward even when logic tells them to stop. They are driven by something we do not fully understand. Call it ambition. Call it madness. Call it hope. Whatever it is, it makes them dangerous. The Thelani representative leaned forward. What do you propose we do? Contact them now, HFY said. Bring them into the galactic community while they are still young. Guide them. Teach them. Show them that there is a better way than constant competition and conflict. Morvax slammed his claw against the floor. Absolutely not. We do not invite primitive species to join us. They must earn their place like everyone else. And if they earn it with weapons instead of words? HFY asked. Then we will crush them, Morvax said, as we have crushed every other threat to galactic peace. The vote was held. 47 species cast their decisions. The result was clear. Humanity would be observed but not contacted. They would be watched but not guided. The council believed they had plenty of time. HFY watched the votes appear one by one. Each one felt like a nail in a coffin he could not yet see. When it was over, he addressed the chamber one final time. You are making a mistake, he said. The greatest mistake in the history of this council. When humanity reaches the stars, and they will reach them far sooner than you expect, they will remember that we watched them struggle alone. They will remember that we could have helped and chose not to. He began to fade, preparing to return to his distant observation post. I only hope that when that day comes, they are more forgiving than we deserve. The council dismissed his words. They returned to their normal business, discussing trade routes and border disputes and all the small matters that kept the galaxy running. The warning of the Elder was filed away and forgotten. Far across the galaxy, on a small blue world, a child looked up at the night sky and wondered what was out there. She did not know that ancient beings were watching her world. She did not know that a council of aliens had just decided her species was not worth helping. All she knew was that the stars were beautiful, and that someday, somehow, she would find a way to reach them. Her name was Katie Brennan. She was 7 years old, and in 40 years, she would change everything.